Hey, this is Oka Nikolov and you're watching to Hey Eintracht Frankfurt.
Alle, 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 Forza SG. Wir schenken euch unsere Herzen und ihr schenkt uns den Sieg.
And welcome back to Hey Eintracht Frankfurt, the Bundesliga podcast in English, covering everything there is to know about Eintracht Frankfurt. The best club in the Bundesliga, the best club in Germany, the best club in Europe, the best club in the world for that matter. But, we're a little bit biased. I'm your host, Brian Sanders. You can follow me on Twitter. That is at KCSGE. You can follow the show, Hey Eintracht Frankfurt, at HEF Pod on Twitter. We have a Facebook group. That is facebook.com/HEF Pod. All sorts of English news about the Eintracht, in addition to new episode drops as well. As we're still switching over. There is a new iTunes feed, so subscribe to that. Like us on there. Review us. Wasn't able to switch things over as in terms of our hosting platform, so kind of awkward that we now have two iTunes locations, but one is defunct, one is active. So that all being said, someone who had been on the inactive part of our HEF Pod roster is now brought back to active, and that's Roman in San Francisco. Hello, Roman. Wie geht es Ihnen?
Deutscher Pokalsieger, SGE. I'm fine. I'm really happy to be back. Has been a long trip in Europe, but I went to a lot of matches. I got my Eintracht fix for a couple of weeks, and but it's good to be back. It's good to be back, definitely. And I miss talking about all these things that I experienced in the podcast, but time zone, that was just too tough for us. I couldn't do the 4 a.m. one. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry for that, but that's just too tough.
Hey, it's okay. It's been a busy time for the Eintracht, needless to say. So, without further ado, let's kind of cover what's been going on. Roman, really, to let you, because you were there at the Europa Pokal match against Lazio. You were there against Leipzig. You were there.
Hannover, I was there.
Hannover. There we go. And that was the other one that I was thinking of.
And what was the other one? Was it another one?
Unless you went to, you didn't go to Dortmund, I don't think.
No. Dortmund. Actually, that's like the weirdest story. So here's the thing. I was given a talk for Evonik, right, on Thursday.
That's the sponsor for BVB.
Exactly, yeah? at the sponsor at BVB, and I was given the presentation to the one of the board of directors of Evonik, right? And I was like, okay. I asked him, like, is it possible maybe to get tickets, because I had hotel booked, everything was paid for, so to say. I got the trip there, I got the hotel and everything. So I was like, oh my God, just stay like one more day, one extra day, get a free ticket to the lounge and everything, VIP, Evonik lounge, the game, Frankfurt, Evonik. What a coincidence. And then I got the okay. I got the tickets. I was like, yeah, Roman, here you go. Here are your 2 tickets. And then I kind of had to decline it because I had to go for another presentation on Friday to Hamburg, which totally I was... you got to do what you got to do, but how are the odds that you give a presentation for a main sponsor in the city where your team plays? I don't know. It was just really annoying that I couldn't go. But anyways, Hamburg was nice too, but no Bundesliga game. But yeah.
Yeah, well, that's because in Hamburg, they don't play Erste Bundesliga anymore. They play Zweite Bundesliga.
That's true. And I don't know. I don't even know who's their sponsor. I don't even. Oh, that's Fly Emirates.
Emirates.
Right? Oh yeah.
Yeah,
well,
they still have Emirates. Of course, that's if you're just talking about Hamburg. Obviously, there are other teams in Hamburg. One team that is a little bit more hipster than
But the real Hamburg team is Altona, right? Altona 93. That is the real amateur team that you got to watch. I don't know if they're the fifth league or whatever, but Altona is really a game because Altona is kind of neutral ground. So a few people from HSV and a few people from St. Pauli go there. It's more of a leftish side team, right? So it's closer to St. Pauli. But yeah, it's nice. It's at the Adolf Jäger Kampfbahn. You know, like the name of the stadium is amazing. I mean, Kampfbahn is kind of like fighting ground. You know, so it's yeah. So if you're in Hamburg and you want to see an amateur game, you got to see Altona 93. Great team. Their colors are also actually black, white, and red. So, you know, very similar to us Frankfurt supporters. So, yeah, when I lived in Hamburg, I went to Altona quite a few games. So that's fun. They got some good, funny chants as well. So they got a little bit of chanting, have a good sausage, and a good beer. Yeah, that's all good things.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So no whatever it is, the Melantor, no Volksparkstadion.
Yeah, well,
none of the big guys.
Well, when I lived in Hamburg, of course, I saw the Eintracht games in Hamburg, obviously at the Volkspark, or at this point, I think the AOL or whatever arena. All these companies that don't exist anymore. But and of course, I went to a few Pauli games. Also, of course, the Pauli games against Frankfurt. That was actually when I studied in Bremen. But anyway, so yeah, I've been to Hamburg to quite a few stadiums. But I'm also an amateur guy, right? I love amateur soccer. I think that's where the heart of soccer actually lives. So actually, while I was in Germany as well, I watched like 3-4 games. I don't know if you saw on my Twitter feeds. So my local club is FV Bad Vilbel, so to say. They're playing in the Hessenliga, which used to be the Oberliga, which is, I think it's a fifth league by now. I think it's fifth league, which for my town is pretty good. And yeah, there was some good game. I saw them play against Hessen Kassel, VfR Gießen actually with Fink.
Has Kassel really dropped that far? Good lord!
Yeah, because
almighty.
they had to they went bankruptcy, so they filed bankruptcy
Again.
Oh no! Back in them time, so they're fighting they're fighting themselves back up, but they are one of the 3 professional teams in the Oberliga. So 3 teams of the Oberliga have a kind of like a professional background with professional players, so players that don't do anything. But
and this is which team?
That is Kassel.
Your not Kassel. Your team.
Oh, FV Bad Vilbel, green and white. Yeah, FV Bad Vilbel, and they play at the Nidderstadion, which is also good. You can bring your own drinks. I love that, right? I mean, you bring your own Apfelwein, and they have a very good sausage, you know, which is good. A good bratwurst. Actually better than in the Commerzbank Arena, just for the fact that it's from the local butcher shop, so to say, kind of homemade or a town-made sausage, not like of a good barbecue, and the beer is okay.
It's a pretty old club now that I'm looking at the information on it. Wow, Rowan.
Yeah, I know. FV Bad Vilbel is an old club. They were celebrating 100 years next year, 1990. Yeah, so 1919. Wow. That's when they were formed, and next year we're going to celebrate the 100s. But we're not doing this season good because we just got up. So we just promoted into the Oberliga Hessen. And that could be another topic. I mean, I don't want to bore anyone about this, but when I was a little kid, I went to see all these games. And at that point, like the league structure was so different, like the early 90s, that we were actually in the 3rd league. So at our shitty stadium, we had all the teams. We saw Offenbach play, Bad Vilbel used to play, the Offenbacher Kickers, Darmstadt, FSV, Viktoria Aschaffenburg, of course, Hessen Kassel. All these kind of well-renowned teams nowadays, they all played in Bad Vilbel. And the stadium at this time would actually also pack. There were like 1,500 people, was like a standard attendance for these games, which was very good. And there was a very good atmosphere as well. But yeah, there would be another time. So, but anyways, look for your amateur team, amateur soccer. It's the best. So much for that.
So much for that, indeed. So, your stadium experience. Let's go directly to the most recent fixtures, and we can kind of highlight on that as the Eintracht will be getting back into Bundesliga form in just a few days. So, let's get to the win over. Do you want to talk about Lazio? Do you want to talk about Hanover? Take your pick.
Let's do both of them, right? So Hanover was also, I think there was another game that I watched. What other game was it?
We kicked their ass.
Yeah, which game was before Dortmund? Do you know?
Before Dortmund? We lost to Bremen.
Yeah, so I was there for Bremen. Yeah, Bremen was the other game. Yeah, so that was super annoying because obviously we lost it in the last minute. And so that was annoying. So that wasn't that good of an experience.
Not gonna lie, that free kick was good.
Yeah, but anyways, you don't. Yeah, let's not talk about Bremen. Hanover, on the other hand, was of course it was the game after the Marseille game, which of course was also great. Watching with my friends, barbecue, all this kind of stuff. But yeah, the atmosphere against Hanover. Beating 4-1. I don't even remember the last time I saw Frankfurt beat somebody 4-1. They have done this, but not with me in the stadium because I always thought it's Frankfurt is cursed when I'm there. But I get rid of this curse.
Didn't you see Eintracht beat Mainz 3-0 though?
I think it did.
Yeah, I think you were there once for that.
Yeah,
a couple of years ago.
But 3-0 is something than 4-1, right? So 4 goals. That is.
Woof.
That's a good one, and especially But anyways, yeah. So the atmosphere was obviously amazing. What do you? How do I start? I don't know if a few of you guys. I don't know if you've seen my live tweets or my live shows that I did. With the little videos. The Leipzig one, I all had to remove for rights issues. But the ones before the games, and though I think I could leave those for the Hanover. I think I did one for the Hanover, and I think one for the Bremen game as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You were doing the kind of match tour kind of experience, going, refilling, buying more beer, drinking more beer, eating the sausages.
Yeah, walking through the woods.
I forget what plaza you were at.
Oh, that's the Konstablerwache. So that's where we meet. So right. So we have our EFC, our fan club that we founded with some friends. So Freunde Frankfurter Fußballs, that's the name of it. So Friends of Frankfurt Football. We are about 60, 70 people, all kind of friends or friends of friends. And we have 13 season tickets. And so there are always good chances that, we can go to the game because somebody's always sick or somebody can't go for some reason. And so there are always good chances. We always meet at the Konstablerwache first, until everyone comes in and we have our chit chat. We start drinking because obviously beer is the cheapest from the supermarket. Or sometimes they have I think I filmed that too when they have like the kind of farmers market out there, where you can have like great apple wine and great sausages or whatever you want to eat, the typical German things or Hessian things. And you start there, you start drinking, you start chatting. And then at some point you make the move, taking the S-Bahn to the stadium. Then, of course, there's another meetup place in the woods where we do. The reason for that, I'm not going to go into the details here, but for some things you just want to be more in the woods. And and then you walk, to the stadium through the woods. And I think
Roman, it's perfectly okay if you have to take as a friend of mine was once told when the line for the urinals was too long. He was told by a copper, if you have to pee.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm referring to. So of course you pee, you do that, but you don't need to go into the woods. You just need to go at the woods. Into the woods you got to do for other things that are legal here in California, but not in Germany. So so then you have the woods. So you go into the woods and you walk, and that's also a nice feeling
through the green smoke.
No comment. But you go through the woods to the stadium because obviously it's the Waldstadion, so it's good to go through the woods, right? It kind of adds to the flavor. Yeah, and then you kind of cheat your way into the line, and off you go. But watch the videos. That's all I can say. But back to topic. Lazio was amazing. There was a vibe in the whole city, in the whole, like, wherever you, like, even when we met up, everyone was excited. Everyone was looking forward to the choreo, you know, like the great fans, the ultras, what they planned. And we all knew that Kevin Prince Boateng is going to be there, say his goodbyes. So we wanted to be there really early, right? At least half an hour before the game starts. And so there wasn't a lot of waiting time. It was basically, are we all together? Okay, let's go. And yeah, the vibe was really cool. The atmosphere, there was different smell, different energy. There was a little tingle everywhere, you know, and then once you got into the stadium, like, it was just louder than usual. It was more energized than usual. And I think you guys heard it over the TV, that the chants, the whole choreography itself, was just, it was amazing. It was so much fun to be there to witness that. And then, of course, the result itself, I mean, give me a break. There was it goes to my, I would say, top 5 stadium experiences of my life. Yeah, I would definitely do that. And I have not been to the DFB Pokal finale, right? So I can't put that in my list. But it was unbelievable. What do you want to know? Ask me questions.
How close were you to the pyrotechnics? And what did you... There's a lot of talk in UEFA trying to get people to no longer do this. Is it really that hazardous?
Yeah, so my personal opinion, of course, is, so it's a tough one. So I've been going to Frankfurt games since I was 14 years old, around about, I think, 13, 12, maybe, whatever. And I think I started going in the G block, you know, that where, like, all the fans used to be, like the hardcore block at that time, or the part. And I think I was 15, 16 the first time I went there. And there was flares all the time, right? There were these bengalos were like just a standard thing, and nobody really cared. I mean, there was an announcement, but, you know, all you do is you blow it up, you hold it up, and that was it. You know, that nothing ever happened. I never heard of anything happening, and I think it's just, most of it is exaggeration. You know, and, like, I don't know. I have to admit, if it's like that much, you know, what we saw in that game, you know, like where it's almost like the whole thing burning, I can see that this is maybe a little bit too much, right? But I think it's also because they have to, because the fans, it's either, you know, if you do it, you might as well do it 100%, you know, you do it big time, because there's no difference, you know, whether you have one flare or whether you have 10, there's no big difference, you know, from the kind of illegal part. And the more you do, the tougher it probably is to single out. So I have no idea what the theory behind this is, why we see so much at one. But I don't really care. I think it's a good atmosphere. I mean, like when we were kids, you know, you have the smoke, and all you do is you have the scarf. So you put the scarf over your mouth, you know, to breathe through the scarf, and then, you know, boom, there you go. You know, it's like, I don't know. It wasn't that bad back in the days. I don't know. But yeah. But here's the but. It is illegal right now. It costs our team a lot of money. Therefore, I'm against it, right? So it's basically, I wish there was like a legal compromise, or, you know, there was like, if they do it a little less, and then nobody would care. What bugs me is that it costs so much money. You know, when you think about it, we pay about 100,000 at least euros per season in penalties. Like, we could hire 2 people for that, right? So 2 people could probably have a job at Eintracht Frankfurt if we would not light those flares, right? So from that sense, I would love to get rid of that, you know? Yeah, that's my take. Have it before the game. Why not before the game? You know, like when they're like walking, when they do their walks, when they're outside of the stadium, do their stuff and smoke and whatever. But all the other stuff is I think it just hurts the team, and it might even hurt people. You know, because we could hire more people for that. Yeah. So that's long answer to a short question. As always.
As always, Roman. So here's a question I will put to you right now before we get into news and notes and then kind of look at Eintracht versus Dusseldorf. Currently sitting in 7th. Somehow we're right behind Bayern, but who would have thought that, they would be in anything but first or second. At this point of the season, where is Eintracht in a position that you weren't expecting them to be in? Eintracht had a really kind of rough start, but the last couple matches have been magical. Where, now that we're about to enter back into the fray, is this where we wanted them to be? What do you think of the current trajectory of the team?
Yeah, good question. So,
because you have had a very different look at them, because you have seen them from basically match day 2, pretty much, on your own old school, your own front door, as it were.
Yeah.
Being in Europe, and that's quite a bit different when you're just watching on TV from, whatever location you're at.
Yeah, especially, and you have more people to chat about it, right? Because like one of the biggest problems that I have here in the US, even though we have like 5-6 fans here in San Francisco, there's no daily banter about Eintracht Frankfurt, right? So most of the discussions you kind of keep to yourself. It's like the same with you, right? With whom do you talk about Eintracht Frankfurt, right? When you are in Frankfurt,
my priest.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And when you're in Frankfurt, you get to talk about it basically every day, with your friends. You meet up with your friends, and there's always a little bit of banter about Frankfurt. So it's very satisfying, to be in that environment where there's chatter all the time, where you can exchange ideas and where you can hear about it and listen about what other people think. But yeah, season-wise, where are we? I would have lied if I would said I knew that we are going to be that good, because obviously, as I mentioned in the first episodes, that I was very skeptic of Adi Hütter, just because of his not so science approach as Niko Kovac, but I have to totally go back on that. I think Adi Hütter is doing an awesome job. I really grew really fond of his work and the team with, here again, what Bobic and Hübner, what they put together is absolutely a surprise. Like, I would have not all the money. I thought it's going to be a tough season with the Europa League. I thought we'll be in the last quarter of the table. And it will be basically a fight against relegation. But they're really keeping that away so far. And yeah, with that team, Ndicka, that he really comes out as such a, with all the problems that we have in the defense, right? Where everyone was like, oh my God, what happens if Abraham gets hurt, right? Or what happens if Chandler gets hurt? And what happens right at the beginning? Boom, Chandler, Abraham, our defense is, I was like, oh my God, how are we supposed to do this, right? But by Ndicka playing, and then Willems getting all the red cards, right? So like, and Fallette not performing, you were like, who's supposed to defend? Like who? And Adi Hütter was able to with Philip Kostic, putting him as a defender, with Ndicka doing an awesome job, and even Marco Russ. Like, who would have guessed that when I read the first time that Marco Russ was in the starting lineup, I was like, OMG, like what this is going to be horrible. But no, they're doing a great game. They have, I think, like all the statistics about how much they run, how much they sprint. So the quick sprints, the fast sprints, they're leading the league. And I think it's a very attractive soccer, even though some people say it's not really. I like watching them because they're very quick, very, very witted. And so the biggest problem that we had with the defense doesn't seem to be a problem, even though Willems, Chandler, and Fallette being not really in the team. You know, what's your take?
So far, so good. I think that we've gotten into the yum delicious part of the fixture list, because not gonna lie, yes, the likes of Stuttgart and Schalke could still turn their stuff around full stop and become a very dangerous team. It looks like Schalke's done that. Stuttgart yet to do that, but right now, I'm very satisfied with where we are. I was expecting more of a mid-table kind of position to have, but with the upcoming fixtures that we have, with 2 in the Europa League, every single one of Eintracht's matches before the November international break, which will then it stops at match day 11. That's the last Bundesliga match day before we hit the break. In that time, we will have played home and away to Apollon Limassol, the Cypriot club. So, and having 6 points already, Eintracht could be entering the November international break in the top 6 of the Bundesliga. Very, very possible, because, not gonna lie, that run-in is great. And Eintracht could have 12 points in the Europa League and be already confirmed for, not the knockout stage.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be great.
There will be, I think those games will even top everything we've seen. The away game to Rome is going to be, I think they're going to be like 30,000 Frankfurt supporters are going to go.
It's a big stadium. They got the seats.
Yeah, they got the seats, because the Lazio supporters are not really watching their games, right? So it's probably going to be majority of Frankfurt supporters at that match. And since no one went to Marseille, it was basically everyone to Rome. There was the saying, people were like, okay, we can't go to Marseille, where some people would have said, oh, I'm going to watch in Marseille, not in Rome. Now it's everyone who can is going to Rome, and of course Cyprus is also attractive, but Rome is going to be, I say, at least 30,000 Frankfurt supporters are going to be there. It's going to be crazy.
That would be amazing to experience.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, just absolutely amazing. All that being said, so let's break this up. We'll get into hashtag what are we drinking and go into segment 2, talk about news, notes, and then previewing Eintracht versus Dusseldorf. So, Roman, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking good old California tap water, actually. So I even got my little bottle here, and so I'm still jet lagged and everything. So no alcohol for me. I need to get fit as quick as possible, and so no alcohol. I'm having California tap water. How about you, Brian?
Out of my Oktoberfest mug that I got from the Kansas City Oktoberfest celebrations, I'm drinking another Missouri beer this week. Schlafly is a St. Louis-based brewery, and their Oktoberfest, giving it a go. And pretty doggone good. Kind of have to enjoy the Marzen-style beer while I can, because, we're in the middle of October. The winter warmers are coming. So, enjoying it while I can, because it's starting to get a little chill out there. So that's what we're drinking.
Very good, very good.
Well, all being said, yes.
Yeah, so we are at, we got glasses from Eintracht, right? So I have to send it to you guys somehow. So we got...
that'll work.
We got some nice glasses here we got them from Jackie. And yeah, I gotta send them over to you guys.
I got a bimble while you were gone too.
Really? OMG. That's so cool. That's cool.
It was really strange. This is really probably making people start wondering. It's like, what the hell are you guys talking about? Yeah. So with this bimble, I've already ordered a case of Posman. So
Nice.
once that comes in the liquor store, there is one in town that is a supplier. So getting it from those guys, and once it is in, I'll probably be doing hashtag what are we drinking with that.
Yeah, you do a bimble.
Unless,
and
of course, I'm having to finish off the rest of my beer.
Yeah, because then you have the glasses. So I think, first of all, I think that's really cool that that Jackie from Eintracht Frankfurt, that they, obviously, it's first of all, it's cool that they listen to our podcast. So greetings, Jackie, and thanks again for everything. Yeah, I got to touch the cup, right? So that's the other big thing. But let's not do everything now. Yeah, so that she was, hey, here are the glasses for you. Since you guys do what are we drinking? Here are the glasses, so you have a proper, cup to drink from, so to say. And yes, I think that was a cool idea. And
glassware is appreciated. Any other breweries who brewmasters who happen to be listening to the show, if you want to talk to your managing partners, we are open to the free beer that you would provide as being our sponsor. So
absolutely,
sponsorships are available because, hey, this is by the fans for the fans, and we have to pay a little money just to keep that going. So every little bit helps. So to that, Prost.
Prost. Yeah, well, I'm drinking water, so yeah. Yeah.
We'll be back for segment 2 in just a jiffy. Stay with. And welcome back to Hey Eintracht Frankfurt, doing a little bit of extra bonus podcast. Thought I'd bring in a little bit of an expert to talk to us about the likes of Freedom Funkel's Fortuna Dusseldorf. And why not bring in a guy who knows everything that there is to know about Dusseldorf? Chris Vilken from the United Kingdom. He's known on the Twitter sphere by the tag of UK Fortuna. Hey, Chris, welcome to the podcast.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Hey, no worries. So, Fortuna Düsseldorf, one of the more traditional teams of the Bundesliga, returning to the big time after a couple years on the outside. How did you come across Fortuna to be kind of your club to follow within the Bundesliga, or I should say specifically within Germany? It couldn't be just because of the cheap beer and cheap tickets, could it?
Well, actually, it was kind of a lot of the main things in life. It was a little bit by accident. We were looking for somewhere to visit after kind of doing a few other trips, and it originally arranged to go to Frankfurt, but the hotels were very expensive. There were some conferences on the weekend that we chose to go, so we looked around and chose Dusseldorf. And obviously, as you look into it more, there's some good beer and there's a football team, and we went to watch the match, which was the last time we were in the Bundesliga against Nuremberg. And it was possibly one of the worst football matches I've ever seen. We lost 2-1 without having a shot on target. It was an own goal that was put us. I think brought us back 1-1 against Nuremberg, and then they won it near the end. But going around the city and meeting kind of the fans, it just kind of opened my eyes to kind of the German football culture, and where we sat in the stadium was kind of between the two sets of fans, and the atmosphere was just so much better than what we used to over in Newcastle watching the Premier League football. So you just kind of start coming back and taking more of an interest. Really.
Interesting. So, fan of the alt beer, are you?
Yes, very much so.
Well, you come from the Newcastle area, where Newcastle Brown is kind of the kind of well-known beer that kind of is widely available. I can totally see the similarities. How that would have spoken to you, not just, in the kind of fan environment that surrounds Fortuna. So it's been quite a few years since we've been able to see Fortuna playing in the Bundesliga. With the way that they qualified for the Bundesliga from last season, having gotten promoted from the Zweite Liga, what kind of caught you off guard about the season? Was it, was it a surprise? Was it anticipated? I mean, Eintracht Frankfurt fans will remember Friedhelm Funkel from his times of stabilizing Eintracht in the middle 2000s, of which Eintracht fans are completely thankful for, because we had turned into a little bit of a yo-yo elevator sort of team. You guys finished in second, pretty respectable, but I mean, kind of what has brought Fortuna to their place currently in the Bundesliga after a couple years out?
Well, yeah, since we were last relegated from the Bundesliga, the club just kind of lurched from kind of bad managerial appointments to crisis to sacking of managers, and it obviously kind of slowly kind of dropped places in the league season by season. And obviously we tried to get Funkel previously, which didn't work out. Eventually came in and like you said, he stabilised things and has kind of worked with the new club hierarchy to kind of reorganise the club. A lot of the fans have become very, very disillusioned, which was the worst part was kind of the season before we were promoted, where we were almost relegated to the third league, with Funkel in charge, but a last minute winner rescued us and saved our league position, which was the first game that I actually saw Fortuna win live, which was obviously after 4 and a bit years of following them. To finally see a win was great, but no one expected, I don't think anyone expected even until the last weeks of the season, that we would get promoted. It was all thought that we would throw it away and kind of go on that bad run and just tumble down to finish 5th or 6th. But Funkel and Robert Schaefer, who's come in as kind of club boss, have really overhauled the squad and the whole recruitment side of things. If you look back at some of the players that have been signed over the years, they tend to have lasted a season, and then they've had their contracts terminated or paid off and let go. So they brought in some good players, the likes some good leaders, the likes of Sabotka and Kanayan, who obviously had a bit of Bundesliga experience over at Schalke. Brought in Hennings after a long period of pursuit there, with firstly a loan deal and then a permanent deal from Burnley, and got a real good squad together of kind of youth and experience, with the likes of Adam Bodzek and Oliver Fink, who've been here for years, and cobbled together a good squad on really a shoestring budget, one of the smallest kind of budgets. There's no big money there over the last few years. We've always got a little bit of cash from the Ilas Bebu sale, and Peter Hermann jumping ship last season to his old pal Jube over at Bayern. But they've cobbled together a really good squad and got a good mentality in the squad. And I think that shows with last season, especially the amount of kind of late goals that we scored, including obviously the win to secure promotion against Dresden, and then the last game of the season against Nuremberg again, with another kind of late winner to win the title rather than going up in second place.
Yeah, and one thing that kind of always prominent when Funkel was in charge of Eintracht was being solid at the back. Is that something that has kind of was throughout all of last season kind of one of the key catalysts for you guys' promotion, or was it just catching lightning in a bottle?
No, I think we had possibly the second or third best defence in the league. There was a good kind of settled back four or back five, if you count Rafa Wolf after he came in from Rensing's injury. Like I said, Ayan and Andre Hoffman do excellently as a centre back pair, and obviously Hoffman's been injured most of this season, which is why Kaminski's been playing. But Kieselman at left back and John Zimmer at right back both do their kind of offensive and defensive duties very well. They don't kind of get lost up the pitch and leave us exposed. So there's a lot of organisation there, and I think that comes from Funkel's experience, and he knows how to get teams promoted to the Bundesliga. He doesn't necessarily know how to keep them in the Bundesliga, but we'll see this season if he can break that curse. But yeah, very organised kind of unit, and some good defensive cover in Sobotka and Bodzek as well.
Gotcha. And so one of the signings that you guys made that kind of made news as we're recording, I'm in the United States and you're in the UK. American Alfredo Morales was signed from FC Ingolstadt after a good long time with those guys. Was that 5 seasons where he was with them, 3 in the Zweite Liga and 2 in the Bundesliga. Him being one of the signings, I think also grabbing a goal. I can't remember which match as well. What, aside from him, what other key additions have been made for the Dusseldorf side?
I think that they've obviously recruited Dodi Lukabakio from Watford on loan. Some of the key signings were permanent deals for the likes of Benito Rahman and John Zimmer, who fitted into the squad very, very nicely, and it's good to have them kind of tied down to permanent deals. Not seen the best from some of the players, like Marvin Dukes hasn't scored yet. He was last season's top scorer, whilst at Kiel on loan from St. Pauli. But defensively, we've done well. The likes of Kaminski's come in, Matthias Zimmermann, also from Stuttgart, has done well. So that they've actually signed some really good players, and obviously we're still yet to see Ivan Barkok. Hopefully we'll see him this weekend. But it's all about settling those players into a team spirit that was already there from last season, but also then learning a new league as well. For a lot of them, haven't played at this level, which is potentially a bit of naivety, and they'll need to kind of learn fast if we are going to survive.
Totally understand on that. Fortuna Düsseldorf currently sitting in 17th place in the Bundesliga, tied on points with Hannover, who are just above them on more goals scored rather than goals conceded, and Stuttgart below you guys on goal difference on 18th. You guys have played you guys have still had some decent moments this season in the Bundesliga. Being able to pull out a 2-1 victory over Hoffenheim was kind of sandwiched between 2 other draws that you guys had, each on the road at Leipzig, so at Stuttgart. So you guys are not unfamiliar to playing staunch defense and being able to get some points. I did see a little bit of the Leverkusen game, which you might want to better forget when you play one of your local rivals. What has kind of been, now the guys currently sitting 17th after 7 matches played. How are things feeling so far now that you guys are at a decent way into the Bundesliga? Do you have a kind of feel for how the team is shaping out and what kind of trajectory you guys are looking at?
Yeah, I mean, Funkel has kind of messed about with the formations a bit and played about with a few different starting lineups, which I don't know if it's had a necessarily detrimental effect. But I think I'd like to see a more settled lineup. But he knows that against the bigger teams, he's going to have to play 5 at the back, play a bit more defensively, and capitalise on the odd kind of breakaway and counter-attack. It's to be expected. We go to the likes of Leverkusen and Schalke. Very, very tough to get anything from those games. Possibly targeting the likes of the Freiburgs, the Hannovers, the Stuttgarts, where we can try and get something and try and build up that way. I think we may surprise against some of the bigger teams, but it's always going to be difficult until we've kind of established ourselves that we can really compete at that kind of level.
A lot of people in the Bundesliga kind of hand-pegged Dusseldorf a little bit more for relegation, and here's something that I would like to kind of more go off of those guys' predictions. Do you feel, and Dusseldorf haven't been in the Zweite Liga for quite a few seasons, whilst you guys are, I would say, a bigger fish from that pond, do you see the difference, the difference between the two divisions being a lot bigger than it was in previous years? Do you feel that, the transition between, the leagues is something that is just really hard for any team to kind of make up? Do you think that at present and going forward that teams from the Zweite Liga, unless you're the likes of Haasval or FC Köln or a team with just bags full of money like Red Bull Leipzig, let's not beat around the bush on them, do you feel that there's such a distinct difference between the two divisions of the Bundesliga that might mean that might be more than a reason why you guys would struggle this season?
Yeah, I think that the gulf kind of between the two leagues is growing, which is it's unfortunate. The TV money in the Zweite Liga is obviously nowhere near what the Bundesliga pulls in terms of money. So if you look at the second division, this is, aside from the two big boys of Köln and Hamburg, there's not a lot of teams there with big budgets. So it's always going to be difficult for whoever comes up now to stay up. And I think the key is to try your best to stay up and do what Funkel's done and cobble together as many kind of free transfers and loan deals as possible. And if you can stay up and stay for 1 or 2 seasons, then it becomes a lot more financially possible to then improve the squad and then buy players and start paying large transfer fees. You look to emulate the kind of the success of the Mainzes and the Augsburgs and the Freiburgs of this world who've done it and continue to do it on low budgets, and they've played in Europe, and it's definitely possible. But with the rise of the Hoffenheims and the Leipzigs, it's getting tougher. And what we certainly don't want to see, I think everybody in German football, aside from the fans of those clubs, is they don't want to see that happening. They don't want to see the teams coming up from nothing and becoming Bundesliga forces. It's not kind of what German football is about. It goes against the principles of it. They want to see the big traditional clubs there, the likes ourselves and Nuremberg. They want to see us up there challenging again. Whether or not it's going to happen or not, I can't really see it. But if we can establish ourselves mid-table Bundesliga team, maybe it's push for Europe, great. Maybe it's go far in the Pokal, brilliant. I think in terms of Fortuna fans, and they're fully resigned that if we go back down to the divided Bundesliga, then it won't be the end of the world as long as we don't do a Paderborn and tumble down into the third division straight away.
Almost into the fourth division, if not not saved by 1860.
Yeah,
so
we've been there and done that. We've went all the way down to the fourth division and come back. So that's the only team that's ever done that. Fortuna fans have been through enough pain in the last kind of 20 odd years that the Bundesliga might be a nice adventure, and we get to go play Bayern and Dortmund. But if it ends after one season, I don't see it as the end of the world. We've got a good enough management structure in there now that we'll then try to push again, and we'll try again to get promoted. But yeah, you'd like to see the traditional teams up there in the Bundesliga, I think.
I can totally understand that. Because Eintracht playing in Europe, you just kind of always want to have that opportunity to be able to have a few upsets. I mean, shoot, you guys had a cup, I believe it was a cup 2 years at the Pokal going to you guys, whereas do you guys then were entered into Europe during your, I guess that you would call that the kind of glory days of the 70s and the 80s, where you guys had a pretty much, I think it was close to a 20-year run in the Bundesliga, which is where you guys just kind of established yourselves as one of the better teams of the Bundesliga. But then, all being said, if we can get you, Chris, to kind of comment now on what to expect from Dusseldorf, and then get you to put your neck out on the line and make a bold prediction if need be.
Yeah, I think for the game against Frankfurt, there's a few injuries that Funkel is dealing with. Nico Gieselman being kind of the big one at left back. So the defensive line may be a little bit more cobbled together, and I think we'll play 5 at the back, kind of a 5-2-3-1 kind of formation, and try and catch Frankfurt on the counter attack. It'd be interesting to see who starts on the wings. We've got some good quality there in Benito Raman, Takashi Usami, Luca Bacchio, who's been on international duty with the Belgian under-21s and helped them qualify for the European Championships. So there's pace in our side, and can really catch teams on the counter if we get things linking up correctly. And with a little bit of luck, there's some goals in the team. So I think in terms of a performance, it will be a disciplined defensive one, looking to try and catch Frankfurt on the break, take advantage of any kind of set players that we have, free kicks and corners, routines. And I think in terms of a result, I'll be extremely happy with a point. If we can snatch a 1-1 draw, I think that's where we'll be. I think we'll probably end up going into the game in the lead in the first half and conceding as we tend to have done in the first 15 to 20 minutes of the second half. I think that's where the game's going to go. So I'd be happy with a 1-1 draw.
Alrighty then, Chris, it's been nice having you on the show. Hope to have you on during the Rückrunde. Perhaps we will have a better view on where Dusseldorf will be finishing in the Bundesliga. Yes,
hopefully it'll be a completely different conversation, and we're sitting nicely in 12th or 13th place. But time will tell. It's going to be a very tough end to the first half of the season.
You'll be happy so long as match day 10 you be able to thrash the Foals. I think that will, if all else fails, I mean, that'll put a smile on your guys' faces.
Yeah, definitely. We've got some revenge to take for the Pokal defeat from last season. So there'll be a full house for that game.
And you guys also have Eintracht Frankfurt's own Pokal thrasher, Ulm, who put Eintracht out in the first round. So, yeah, you guys, if you can kick them right in the teeth, I won't complain. So, and hey,
well, hopefully we can use that one as a good confidence builder, and if we can put a few goals behind them, and then the guys can rediscover their scoring form, we'll set us up nicely heading into December, I think.
Indeed. All right, Chris, where can we find you in the social media landscape of the world?
So on Twitter at UK Fortuna, Facebook at UK Fortuna, and Instagram UK Fortuna IG, and our website ukfortuna.co.uk.
Awesome. Appreciate you coming on the show, and look forward to talking it on the road. Thank you, Chris.
Excellent. Thanks for having me. Thank you.
No problem. And we're back. Segment 2 of Hey Eintracht Frankfurt. So, news and notes section. Eintracht, whilst some players were off on international duty, Tawata was able to do well for Israel. I actually heard more of that, mostly because in the English language media, the Scottish are rather a loud bunch, to put it mildly. But what was more interesting to me was on the 11th, Eintracht took on FC Hanau. Is
Hanau, yeah.
and my German is so is it like 93?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very good.
Hanau 93 ended up being a slaughterhouse, more like, and the Kicker app itself was letting me know what was going on there, because I liked the fact that young little Noel Nothi was able to get on the scoreline. In addition to getting some good minutes, Stendera made an appearance during the match against Lazio. I like how trying to utilize
amazing?
the entire. Well, I mean, he's been gone for so long. He's had so many injuries. Was on the outside looking in. Was a part of the training squad too. And there he is getting good minutes against Lazio and nicked a goal for Eintracht in their test match. I mean,
and he got great support from the
good
fans,
moments.
right? So there were Mark Stendera chants, right? And there are not
How
a
do
lot
they
of
sound?
just like Mark Stendera, that's the simple one. So nothing
Okay.
special. But they
special.
didn't. I've never heard like a Makoto Hasebe chant, right, or a Timothy Chandler one. So only a few players have that little thing. Of course,
They
now
don't
it's,
chant, they bow to Makoto Hasebe.
yeah, that's true. But no, I'm just saying, like, not many players have that they, of course, there are some really cool, unique ones to certain other players. But like the Fußballgott, or there was the Duri Cha one back in the days. Or, I mean, my favorite one is immer noch Nairo Takahara. That was my best one.
Takahara.
Takahara, yeah. There was like the
remember.
Nairo Takahara, na 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 na. Nairo Takahara, every time after he scored. But anyway, so
I've got some fondness for Okan Nikolov. Boy,
Yeah.
that dude is huge in person. Just saying.
Oh, yes.
Looked like a midget.
Yeah. yeah. So, but I thought it was pretty cool, right? I mean, he was kind of booted out. He was gone and away. And Adi Hütter has the guts. And I think that's a big quality of the coach, that he brings a player like this in a situation like this. And basically, whatever happened before is done and dusted. You're a player. You got the eagle you're having the eagle on the crest. And now you play. If you're good enough, everyone can make it. That's a strength that I saw in Niko Kovac, and I'm very happy that I see that in Adi Hütter as well. That everyone has a chance. Everyone. If you, as a player, if you perform during practice, if you perform in the training sessions, if you do what the coach wants from you, there's always a time to get back in the team. And I think that's a very big quality of Adi Hütter. So I really like to see that, and I think that's amazing to see. And the supporters, the fans, they still love him. Stendera, he's a Frankfurt dude, so he's an original Frankfurt guy, and he gets a special chance. And especially, here's another thing quite quickly, because that's from the stadium experience, when Rebic got his first when he entered the ground the first time, there was also a special vibe in the on the ground when he got put in. It was just magical. Yeah, it was a little bit of magic thing. Everyone was standing up, like the whole, like not only the fans that are standing all the time anyways, but even, on the Gegentribüne and even on the Haupttribüne. So like where the rich guys or the sponsors, everyone got up, because like to see Rebic again was good. It was like you could see that Frankfurt has a star. Right, it was different game. A lot happened from winning the Pokalfinale to him being a vice world champion, so to say, and we were able to see him again, and it was a special spirit in the stadium. It was a magical moment. Just Ante Rebic on the pitch, and then of course his game. I mean, give me a break. Like he is the superstar. He's gonna go for so much money to what is it, Manchester United?
Why doesn't he just? Point? Well, I mean, I don't know if those guys will pay out that money. That's only because if you follow the English Premier League, that seems good Lord Almighty, there's so much mudslinging going on with that team. I mean, I'm not holding out hope that, someone pays big money for him. And then Bayern Munich, rumors coming out that, Kovac wanted to go there, Rebic wanted to go there. And, Bayern basically said, no, he's not Bayern caliber. You know what? I'd take that as a real dig at me. And when it does come down to match day 17, put on a brace so that you can basically look them right in the face and be like, you could have these goals right now. Instead, you're sitting on your butt looking like fools. Anywho's, the guy who shocked everyone with his performance, and I mean, good Lord Almighty, 8 goals scored by Branimir Agata. I keep on forgetting he's even on the team. And this was a very, very loud reminder that he's still around. And, he could be part of the rotation. I would think that he still is not going to be part of it. But I would like to think that, someone in the Zweite Liga or second division anywhere around Europe or top division of a much smaller league. I don't know, like Denmark or maybe someone in the Eredivisie.
Maybe he makes too much money in Frankfurt. Like he's not gonna. It's a money game now. It's like it's not about can I play. It's
Basel.
Do I make money?
Hey, Basel, if you want. FC Basel, that is. If you or young boys, any of you big players in Switzerland are interested in him, well, can be negotiated for a price. I'm sure that the dude would just take advantage of the opportunity to just play, but that's just me. Anyways, good on him for scoring 8 goals in an absurdly lopsided match, but all that aside, let's look to kind of more towards the Bundesliga and Eintracht versus Fortuna. Shall we, Robin?
Friedhelm Funkel. Yeah. What can I say? I love Friedhelm Funkel. That is my... I think he is an amazing first of all, we got the right time to get rid of him, right? So I don't want to say we should not have done that switch, but Friedhelm Funkel for me is a very special coach because he quit an era of. We used to be just like Stuttgart or Hamburg, switching coaches. Yo-yo, yeah, switching coaches like. You're going up and down, but also switching coaches like other people change their underwear.
I was wondering what analogy you would use.
Yeah. Anyways, so and when Funkel came on with Herbert Bruchhagen after Willi Reimann, who wasn't as long. Reimann was a different character as well, but he really the shit he had to go through is kind of like Ermantraut. Horst Ermantraut, the same thing. No money, no future. But still doing it, and he got the relegation in his first season at Frankfurt. Then he was in the second season he went to the finals of the DFB Pokal where we lost 1-0 against Bayern, and then in his third season we played Europapokal, and so I think was it 5 years we were Funkel. And of course, he was maybe not the right for the next step to do that Frankfurt needed to do, but he was such a stability guy, and he brought Armin Reutershahn on, right? So that is something when you think about it that this is still something we kind of still have from the Funkel era, Not only Marco Russ, as a player. Whom he gave a contract or like who he put in the first team, but all of these like Patrick Ochs, Alex Meyer, they were all Funkel guys, and so he did a lot for Frankfurt, even in the long run, even after he was gone. And he's just, he's a super cool guy. I mean, just look at him. So I have a lot of respect for Friedhelm Funkel. And I do wish all the best for Fortuna Düsseldorf, that they stay in the league just for that coach. That's Funkel is, he did a lot for Frankfurt. And we would not be where we are right now without Friedhelm Funkel. That's my claim, so to say. That's my hypothesis.
Well, I would totally agree on that. He was a good stabilizing force back in the day. I say back in the day when it really was not that long ago that we were, exactly that. A yo-yo club, an elevator club, if you want to go along in that route. But so Dusseldorf, 17th place, not exactly setting the world on fire. I'm really, really looking at these guys and saying, ho, 6-day difference between the match as we're playing on Friday before the Europa League, and I'm just thinking, you can throw your A-list squad at these guys and throttle them if you want to.
But here...
Or you could send your second team and do that too.
Yeah, that's true, but here's my thing. We all know Eintracht Frankfurt, and we are the diva, and and it would be typical for us if we would lose that game, I'm not saying we will, and I'm not saying we should, and but, let's put it this way. 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, we would have lost that game, right? Because that's just what we do. We are always the happy supporter. We like to give a helping hand to struggling clubs, or we used to, I hope we used to. And this is actually what this game will show. This game will show where the last few games in the Europa League, and of course against Leipzig, which was a great game, even though we didn't win, and Hoffenheim, was that a little streak, a lucky streak, or are we really as good as we think we are? And then if we are as good as we think we are, we're going to beat Dusseldorf it's going to be 3-1 or 4-1 or whatever, right? Should be similar as to Hanover. But if we are not, we might lose. And then, by our surprise, would be what we all know as Eintracht Frankfurt. We could make a leap, but no, we go, and instead of making a leap forward, we take a step back, right? Which is like the typical Frankfurt analogy that we've been, even on our podcast, have talked already so many times about, now we can move forward, but no, what do? We jump right back. So we will see. It will be curious. So I put out my warning finger. I don't know if players are listening to the podcast, but don't take this easy, because we know Funkel, how he plays. There will be strong defense. They will try everything they can to destroy the Frankfurt game, the match plan, and see if they can do a few counter, and we will see if we can, if our great attacking force is capable of going through the defensive line of Düsseldorf.
Indeed. I look forward to kind of what we're going to be rolling out with. I think that Alea playing up top, so long as he has someone to play off of him, it allows someone who can stretch the field, and it has looked like that Jovic really is able to accomplish that. And oh my gosh, we will put in a few goals. So that being said, let's get to our predictions right now. Roman, prediction time. What are you feeling?
Okay, of course we're going to win this one 3-0. Yeah, 3-0.
Just 3-0? I thought you would probably say that this is going to be beat down.
No, I like I said, I like Funkel. I have too much respect for him, and no, it's going to be 3-0, and it's going to be a tight one. I would say the first half is going to be a 0-0, no goal first half. And and the first 10, 15 minutes are going to be good by Düsseldorf, and we're going to be like, holy shit, what's going on? Are we going to lose it? But then they're just going to strike 3 quick goals. Yeah. Do you think Alain is going to play again? Because isn't that... Or do you think maybe Stendera gets another chance?
Well, I'm thinking that more of those guys will be brought in for the Europa League match because, they'll want to take advantage of strike the Bundesliga while it is hot. Throw in against this Cypriot side. Since the match will actually be at home, I'm thinking that they would throw out a weaker team for the Europa League and put a more stronger team out there for the Bundesliga. Just how I'm feeling, but I mean, those predictions in terms of the way that the roster is going to kind of lay out, I mean, could be totally exploded by the time. He could totally be looking at the Europa League as a more of a priority over Dusseldorf. I would hope not, but I'm not the one who's in Hutter's head. So,
what's your prediction?
I am not as positive as you, Roman. I only have a 2-1 victory, and I think we're going to concede pretty late on that we're just like, wait, what? And then remembering, oh yeah, we have to play out this match. I think Eintracht will be, scoreline-wise, it will look closer, but I think that there's not going to be a single moment that it does not feel like Eintracht is in charge. So, that being said, you can join with us in the HEF Pond Predictor League from thebundesliga.com. You can join our group. And so just go to predictor.bundesliga.com, create a login if you have not already done so, and look up HEF space pod. And just join the group. And you can match your wits against myself, against Roman, against Nathan. Match it up against all of us. Just a little fun thing to do with friends. And as for the rest of the Bundesliga, here's hoping that Borussia Dortmund is able to keep things going, because whatever keeps Bayern Munich off the top of the table, as it's a rather interesting start to the bringing back the Bundesliga, as you have the likes of Wolfsburg hosting Bayern Munich. Wolfsburg always seems to take points off of Bayern. I don't know why, but it is what it is. And you have Stuttgart with their new coach, Markus Weinziel, versus Borussia Dortmund. You have Schalke, who seems to have righted the ship, facing off against Werder Bremen in Topspiel. Quite a good few matches for the Bundesliga. So, where can you watch the Eintracht? Good question you might ask. Fox Sports 2 in the United States, in addition to Univision Deportes, is your TV opportunities. Of course, you can always get the Fox Soccer Match Pass just for streaming purposes only. I happen to use this from time to time, plug it into my laptop, plug it in on the TV, because it's a lot better than just a small screen that's sitting, obviously, to be placed, on your lap. Just it is what it is. So places that you can see it around the world. In Germany, this is one of the Eurosport matches, and so quite a few people throughout the world are being able to see that. So in the United Kingdom, that's BT Sport Live. North of the border, where we are from the United States, Canada has that on Sports World. It's on all sorts of cable channel opportunities through Fox. So if you need a kind of last second option for wherever in the world you are, let me know at KCSGE on Twitter, and I'll be more than happy to kind of find the exact channel for you. So we put this out there before. This is a little homecoming, little house cleaning kind of things. We put out on Twitter what you guys wanted to talk about. And at Cramordap, oh golly, I just probably butchered that. Roman, he wanted to know our thoughts on the Florida Cup, the preseason tournament that Eintracht will be partaking in January. Is this gonna? Do we think that this counts towards the once-a-year trip to the United States? Do we also have concern that they're not staying in nearby in Europe for their kind of January camp and traveling out west to the United States? What are you thinking?
I would say yes. I think that's going to count for the US trip next year.
So we go to Asia in the summer? Yes? Got it? Hey, you can't leave those guys alone. You can't leave those guys alone. I mean, Makoto Hasebe is still on the team. You need to hit Japan. You need to hit China up. You need to hit South Korea up. Then you can go home. I mean, hey, you gotta. How do you expand the brand? Well, you kind of have to go to the places to start off with.
That's true. Actually, a little story to this. So when I was in the mixed zone against the Leipzig game, so apparently Makoto Hasebe gives an interview after every game in English.
Really?
Yeah, I think I still have that. I have to check on my phone whether I have that. Maybe we can even add it to this one. I mean, it's a generic one. I don't know who asked the questions. I don't know if the sound quality was. But then there's also the Japanese journalist. So he also gives an interview in Japanese every time. So there's always Japanese news. So Makoto Hasebe is one of the guys who always come out for an interview. Because he's just like for the Japanese media. Obviously, we never hear those interviews because they're in Japanese. But yeah, let me see if I still have that one in. Maybe we can add it to the end of this episode. We'll see. But yeah, so that was kind of funny. I thought every time.
Interesting.
So we should go to, but yeah, Florida Cup. I think the Florida Cup is going to be fun. It's going to be. I think it's a good thing to do this. As more of a cup environment. With maybe some more support.
Yeah, in case anyone is kind of wondering where the heck this Florida Cup is happening, outside the obvious,
where is it happening?
The obvious fact, the Eintracht will be facing off against São Paulo and Flamengo. From the Brazilian top division, two very historic clubs when it does come to the Brazilian Championship. Other team that is going to be down there is the Eredivisie giants Ajax Amsterdam, who are in Bayern Munich's group, and good luck to them trying to get some more points off of Bayern. When the giant is down on the ground in the fetal position, best kick them while you can.
Yeah.
Because you don't know when they're going to remember that they can actually fight back. Exactly. But that being said, so in Florida, on January the 10th, they'll be taking on São Paulo in St. Petersburg, which is in the I guess that is central part of Florida, but it's on the Gulf Coast side. So the Tampa Bay area region, the stadium that's used by the USL Tampa Bay Rowdies team is where they're going to be playing that one. And 2 days later, on the 12th of January, it's going to be in Orlando at the Orlando City Stadium, which is home to their own Major League Soccer team, Orlando City SC. So free promotion right there.
Are we going to go to a game, Nathan? Are you going to go? Do you plan to go? Do you want to go? I mean, want to?
I'm currently involved in a wedding during, literally right before that time, because my cousin's going to get married in Arizona. So that is a long ways that I would have to travel to get to Florida. But I'm gonna see how far I can stretch my pennies to get it out there. Because that all being said, I would have lodging options in the St. Petersburg area, so long as my cousins are okay with that.
That should be fine if you bring a few friends.
Here's hoping. I do think that they might have sold their house as they were looking to downsize, but I can always throw that. I can always throw that out to them. Instead of throwing them out there right under the bus, we're gonna throw it out there. Where can we find you in social media, Roman?
You find me at SF Bay Eagles on Twitter.
Any Facebook group that might be attached to that team, to that name?
Yeah, of course. I think it's also SF Bay Eagles on Facebook. But so obviously we are expanding, or the San Francisco Bay Eagles are expanding. So I don't manage the Facebook page myself. Me personally direct, you can reach over the Twitter, because I do the Twitter for the supporters club here in San Francisco. But the Facebook. But hey, the best way to reach me is on Friday at Steph's on 2nd Street, where I'm going to be watching. We'll see how many people. It's a working day, right? So it's 11:30 lunchtime. So some of us are not going to be in town for that. So let's see if I'm going to be watching it by myself at Steph's. But maybe there'll be more people. But if you're in town, if you're in San Francisco, and you want to watch the Düsseldorf Frankfurt game, come on by. Even if you're a Düsseldorf supporter, come on by and watch the game.
There you go, everybody. I mean, what could be more welcoming than Roman giving you a big old hug and probably buying you your first pint of beer? I can't say after the first one, but,
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's see. Wait a second. Shouldn't you be buying me beer? No, just kidding.
All that being said, if you want to watch the game with me, if you're in the Kansas City area, hey, wonderful place, part of the country to visit. Just saying, the foliage is changing right now. So, if that's your kind of bag and you want to do it in the Midwest, Kansas City is the place to be. And Casey Beer Company.
Are you going to watch it there this Friday?
Yeah.
Or are you working? Oh, okay.
I have got enough goodwill to be able to watch this one live. So
nice. Lunch
it's going to
break.
be great. Oh, no. I'm taking a half day.
Nice. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Hey, folks, that's what the devotion calls for. So, going to be watching at KC Beer Company. So, if you listen to HEF Pod and you are able to watch the match in Kansas City and go to KC Beer Company, you can tap me on the shoulder and we'll negotiate whether you are going to get a Maßkrug or just the half liter. Hey, you might only be able to drink you might only be able to consume the half liter. The liters are not for everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's plenty of good beer that will be available. So, that being said, you can follow me, Brian Sanders, at KCSG on Twitter. You can follow the show at HEF Pod. Email the show. Yes, we still have that available. That is Hey Eintracht Frankfurt at yahoo.com. And follow us on Facebook, and that is facebook.com/HEF Pod. So, from all of us here at Hey Eintracht Frankfurt, it's Tschüss.
Tschüss.
Deutsche Pokalsieger.
Actually, no, the best one is now, is it Deutschlands beste Mannschaft? Yeah, Deutschlands beste Mannschaft. Deutschlands beste Mannschaft, SGE. That's that we can sing this now. It's absolutely, yeah. What can you do? Tschüss.
Eintracht Frankfurt, schalalalalalala. Hey, Eintracht Frankfurt, schalalalalalala.